I wanna thank everyone who is tuning in. We got you covered. We're from Los Angeles to Chicago. We've got you covered today. I'm here at the Grammy Museum where KBLA is hosting its Black History Month luncheon. I can tell you Dr. Cornell West just spoke from the stage. There are a number of comedians that are being honored here today because, look, levity is important. Levity is important. Sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying. Amen. And so today, Tavis Smiley and the KBLA team have assembled some of the greatest comedians of our time are here to celebrate, and we're here to celebrate them. I saw Martin Lawrence just moments ago. D.L. Hughley is here. Dion Cole, Lunel is being honored here, among others. And so we'll keep you posted as that program continues. But as for this hour, I'm really looking forward to welcoming Dr. Johnny Mack. Dr. Johnny Mack is going to be joining us in short order. Dr. Mack is the curator of the World House. And for those who are less familiar, the World House is Dr. King's visionary group. Dr. King's vision to create that beloved community, the beloved family. Well, Dr. Mack has played a hand in helping to bring that to life, appointed by the late Coretta Scott King. He's been a partner in this work for a long time. I think the young folks would say he is true to this, not new to this. And so when we come forward, I'm looking forward to welcoming Dr. Mack and also being in conversation with Atiba and Gina Towns. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your host. I also serve as KBLA's White House correspondent, and I am really honored to be filling in, if that's even possible, filling in for our friend and brother Jesse Jackson Jr. As he continues to mourn the loss of his father, civil rights icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson. I am joined now with my guest co-host this hour, Atiba, and Gina Towns, the executive producer of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Niku, and thank you for taking time out to be with us this week to sit in for Jesse as he and his family go through the last part as we process through Greenville, South Carolina, Greenville, and then Washington, D.C. And the plans, I know in the last hour we did talk about the plans in D.C., which are being finalized. So, we are processing in a really, really huge loss for the country. And, the other day, Jesse and his siblings were invited by Speaker Jeffries to sit in the gallery during the State of the Union address. And I want to share that Jesse, after 17 years of being in Congress, he said that he had never been in a State of the Union address like that, where the tone in in the address and in the gallery was something that he had never experienced before. And he talked about how there was really not substance for the American people. And when you juxtapose that to the fact that Reverend Jackson was not mentioned at the State of the Union, nor were the siblings recognized in Speaker Jeffries. I'm sorry. Well, I hope I'm speaking that into existence, but in Minority Leader Jeffries' seating area, I don't know what to really say about that. I know that people keep saying not to have an expectation, but we really should have an expectation of decency, decorum, and in defense of our democracy, demand that we still go back to honoring that which has come before us.
Atiba, I want to bring you into the conversation and just get, your thoughts on that State of the Union. I think so many folks who actually watched it are still processing that. It appeared to be really one of the most divisive State of the Unions that I can remember. It was a State of the Union that had a lot of pageantry. There were a lot of awards given, a little light on the substance, particularly when it comes to a number of issues impacting our communities across the country. You've served with the National Caucus of Black State Legislatures for some time. You've seen a lot, not just from the feds, but on the state and local level. Talk to us about your reaction and how you still might be processing the State of the Union address from President Trump.
Herman Edwards was the coach for the New York Jets years ago, and he said at a press conference once, when asked about the other team, they are who we thought they were. That's how I think about this. I didn't watch it, and I purposely didn't watch it, and I've turned down several media requests to talk about it because I think that we're in a day and an age where there are a lot of distractions. And I think that this administration and these politicians have a good way of distracting us. And my focus right now, honestly, is on midterms. And because that's the first place where I feel like we can change some of this. And I believe that they know that. And so they are going to do everything in their power to obstruct our ability as Americans to vote. And the reason why I'm mentioning this also within this piece is because as we reflect on the life of Reverend Jackson and we think about the others who came before him and that who all laid a roadmap for us, is the power of the vote is very important. And we have neglected it in some ways. And I'm not saying we in terms of those of us right here, but we as a nation, regardless of communities. And we got into this together and we're going to get out of it together. The question is, are we going to get out of it quickly, or are we going to take a long time and recognize that just like when you're riding down a highway and there's no obstruction on one side, but there's an accident on the other side, but yet both sides end up in gridlock. That's how we are right now. And I think we've got to figure out a way to stop looking at where the accident is and just keep going forward and keep our eyes on the prize.
And speaking of keeping our eyes on the prize, I want to welcome our featured guest to the show, Dr. Johnny Mack. He's a prominent scholar. He's a peace builder, an expert on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's known for often focusing on King's philosophy of nonviolence and knows quite a bit. He's quite an expert on the Beyond Vietnam speech in particular. He serves as Director of International Relations for Reverend Al Sharpton. He has, at least, and has extensive experience in conflict resolution and social change. Just the right person for us to be in conversation with, as we are a nation in flux. We are a nation in conflict, both at home and abroad. And to really help us understand this moment more fully, a moment where we are celebrating and commemorating, depending on who you're talking to, the 250th anniversary of America, the 100th anniversary of Black History Week turned Black History Month. Here to help us better understand this moment, please welcome Dr. Johnny Mack.
Well, good afternoon. I had a slight problem connecting, but it's so good to be with you. And, this is an incredible time. I'm just grateful that we have the Jesse Jackson Show and the network of people such as those of us who are on now to, engage in these conversations. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And, first things first, we were just talking about the State of the Union. It is the State of the Union unlike any I've ever seen in my lifetime. It struck me as being incredibly divisive. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of pageantry, not nearly enough substance considering the challenges that we see here at home and abroad. There were a lot of people that just didn't watch it because they thought that they would see President Trump's greatest hits, and in large part, that's what we saw. Did you watch the State of the Union address? And if so, what did you think of it?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't. I sort of saw it, and I got pieces of it after. What did I think of it? I think many things. Listening to news reports and getting bits of it, post the event, and it's more of the same. It's more of our leader, whether we want it or not, like it or not, and we are challenged to challenge that leadership and all that it represents. And I think the State of the Union tells us that we have so much more work to do, and that work is serious work. It's the work that Dr. King and so many others, like his protege and our leader now gone, but never missed, as Jesse Jackson Jr. demonstrated, that we have to stay in the fight. We have to stay in the struggle.
Yeah. If I can chime in, Dr. Mack, one of the interesting things about it was that when Reverend Jackson passed and President Trump made one of his most kind comments on social media about Reverend Jackson when he passed, I think some people were kind of caught off guard and said, well, that's great. And I'm glad that he didn't say anything else, because people who know that Donald Trump previously was in another party and, participated in a different quote unquote politic. And times you would see, even though they agreed to disagree, that Reverend Jackson and Donald Trump were friendly. And then you saw at work the other night a little something different. And I think it really was a wake up call for someone of the stature of Reverend Jackson and the things that he has accomplished in our country. This just tells you, in case you thought it wasn't real, in case you thought there was a crack in the door, that it is real. And even if President Trump wanted to do something, there were forces perhaps behind him that would not allow it, and perhaps overvoted, overruled. So I just think that this is a moment in the country when we have to know how real it is. And to Atiba's point, we don't have any time to play around with this, and how this really affects the World House. The World House is really on some stilts right now, isn't it, Dr. Mack?
The World House is in trouble, and the example that Reverend Jackson gave us, as so many others, from his I was going to say era. That's not the right word, but that mid 20th century leadership was just incredible, and they did all they could to ensure that that the World House was in order. Um, and the question is, how do we do that today? How do we stand on those shoulders? And what is the work that we have to do? Our work at the Road House Project considers that question. How do we think about the challenges and opportunities that the present global order presents us and the present leadership presents us? I think that's part of what these conversations are from week to week, that Jesse Jr. and I engage in. Gina, as you know, as King said, we have some difficult days now and difficult days ahead. And I just hope that we can stand in the gap and provide the kind of dedication and commitment and leadership that we saw Jesse Jackson Sr. and Martin King and so many others do.
It's interesting to me, Dr. Mack. Also, I have an aunt who's 106 and a half years old, and her mind is incredibly sharp. And she's been saying to me for at least the last 10 years, it's going to get worse, but I promise you it's going to get better. But it has to get worse before it gets better. And I kept asking, is it going to get worse? And is it going to get worse? And she goes, no, it's going to get a little worse. And I've been asking this for a while. I just stopped asking because I'm getting it. And I say that because when we look at the past movements, when we look at the past heroes and sheroes, when we think about terms like, I ain't going to let nobody turn me around, or we shall overcome, I'm starting to understand better the sentiment of those words and those quotes that we often say. And it's unfortunate because I feel like, unfortunately, we may have to go through this to experience it, to make sure, as I'm sure that those heroes said before, that they were working to make sure that we didn't incur this again. So I'm wondering, in terms of from your work, in terms of your perspective, what is it that we can be doing now, short of, when I say revolution, because it feels as if like the country is revolting against itself in a sense, that what is it that we can do to continue to push this agenda forward, God willing, in a peaceful manner, but in a rightful manner, in order to right the ship?
Yeah, Atiwa, this idea that things will get worse before they get better, if I can address that first. I learned many years ago and adopted the notion that the path of change is not a straight line, right? I'll say that again. Path of change is not a straight line. It often moves in a direction where things do get worse. Things, as Achebe must say, or said, his book said, things do fall apart. And they fall apart, for a reason. There's a disruption. The status quo often has to be disrupted, and that disruption causes resistance, and that resistance results in more chaos and conflict. And that is the getting worse before they get better. And so we should expect that. But that then goes to the second part of your question, Atiwa, I think, and that is, if we expect it, then we must plan for it. We have to plan for things to get better and not be to get worse before they get better, and not be surprised and become disillusioned because what we thought would happen in terms of expecting some immediate change that does not happen, we then give up. And so understanding that the path of change is not a straight line forward, but can take many different paths, often and almost decidedly getting worse before they get better.
Mm.
Then we can make the necessary preparations, and so that is what we must do. I'll add one other quick thing. That is, preparation is all about organization, is all about mobilization, and we've lost the art of mobilization. And I would argue we've lost the art of organization. We expect someone else to do that. We expect Revenal to do that, or it's someone else's work. It is all of our work. We must mobilize. We must organize. We must study. We must educate and prepare ourselves, and then we must execute. Those are broad ideas, but they're important ideas that we cannot forget.
Well, these are very important ideas, and important ideas for us to not only hold in our own hands, but for us to make sure that we're sharing across generations. And when we come forward, I really want to learn about all the different ways in which the World House Project is working across generations, because we don't see or hear nearly enough of that, working across generations. We know that some of our leaders, learners, and listeners are very active on social media. They're very active on the internet. But I think the collective wisdom of everybody on this call, everybody on this show today, knows that it's both inside and outside the Beltway. It's both online and offline. And to the point that Dr. Mack just made, creating change is never a straight line. It's not linear. And so that means that we've got to take the long view and be prepared for so many legs of the journey. When we come forward, Dr. Mack, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about some of this work that you're doing across generations, and want to hear what your message is to some of the younger millennials and to the Gen Z folks out there who are fighting that urge to just disconnect from politics, disconnect from the work of building that beloved community that Dr. King envisioned so many years ago. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte, along with Atiba and Gina Towns. More with Dr. Mack when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Rapper Cardi B is weighing in on Texas politics, endorsing Black Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in the state's Senate race.
Early primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win.
Capitol Police arrested Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's State of the Union guest after she silently stood up during President Trump's remarks about Minnesota's Somali community. Aaliyah Rahman, a Minneapolis resident who is disabled, says officers removed her aggressively before others stepped in. She was treated at a hospital and later booked at Capitol Police headquarters. And Florida unveiled a statue of abolitionist Frederick Douglass in St. Augustine, honoring his legacy of fighting for equality. Governor Ron DeSantis called Douglass a champion of God-given rights during the ceremony at Plaza de la Constitucion, where Douglass once spoke. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't back down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the Southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Polly drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me.
You are listening to
KBLA
and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your co-host and KBLA White House correspondent. I'm not alone. I'm here with the wonderful Gina Towns, executive producer of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm also joined with Atiba, who is author of the book Saving Grace. You might also recognize him as a political contributor on TV and radio. And he has spent quite a bit of time working with the National Caucus of Black State Legislatures. He is here with us today. Welcome, Atiba. Welcome, Gina. And of course, welcome our guest this hour, Dr. Johnny Mack, the curator of the World House, which is Dr. King's visionary group. We're so honored to have you here with us as we stand in for our friend and brother, Jesse Jackson Jr. Dr. Mack, before the break, I was asking you about some of the work of World House, particularly across generations. For folks who follow the news closely, they might have heard that rapper Cardi B, just endorsed Jasmine Crockett in her race for the U.S. Senate in Texas. That's a big deal because Cardi B has a lot of followers, particularly among millennials and Gen Zs. Talk to us about the work that World House is doing to engage that same group of young people.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Nicordelai. We at the World House are a global network of individuals, groups, and organizations. And our work does span generations. Specifically to your question, one of the things that we focus on is ensuring that the current generation has the platform and the opportunities to express themselves and to to join this struggle for peace and justice globally. We do that through a number of means, including the World House Project meets every Friday virtually in an hour conversation, 1 hour conversation every Friday, where again, activists, scholars, academics, elected officials, business persons join in a conversation on a given crisis in the globe, and that includes young people. We also encourage working groups, and we have several dozen working groups around the globe. These working groups are self-generated gatherings, often of strangers, whether they gather together in the same local geographical area or whether they gather virtually from around the globe, and they identify specific issues, specific challenges that are important to them, whether it's poverty or violent extremism or employment, education. And they mobilize and organize, as we were saying just before the break, in ways to address the specific issues that they might identify. We then support them through research, education, and technical assistance. And so the World House Project has institutes, a research institute, an education institute, and a social action institute that supports these working groups around the globe. Now, what are some of the things they do? Some of our members are young members, and we generally think about youth somewhere between 15 and up to 35. And so we have young leaders, again, from South America to the Africa to the Far East, who are leading in their communities. They often need that research support or technical assistance for social action. We often call that direct action, but there are many other forms of social action that can be done to address specific problems, challenges, and opportunities. We provide that educational support. We provide that technical assistance and research. Some of our young members are actually contesting or standing for election in their communities, including to be president of their countries, with real chances and opportunities. So those are just some of the things we do at the World House Project.
I think Atiba, your sound. Atiba has a follow-up for you. While we're waiting for Atiba to join us, Dr. Mack, I really appreciate you sort of laying that out for us. And you know, what's your message to folks that in this moment, you know, are feeling just sort of disenchanted and disillusioned, right? We see it on social media. We see it on the internet. Obviously, World House is working with young people, you know, who are engaged. And it sounds like they have some interest in wanting to engage already. But what's your message to the folks that don't have that?
Well, listen, you know, we were recalling quotes from the mid 20th century. One of them is, "I ain't no ways tired," and you know, we just can't be tired. We can't get tired. We have to stay in the fight, and we have to commit ourselves. I think it was Gandhi who said, "Be the change that we seek." And we have to be that change. If not us, then who is our message? If not you, then who? And so we're counting on you. You know, the creative drive and energy that the current generation brings is energizing, it's electrifying. And that which they bring can engage others. And so building that solidarity, they can know that they are not alone, that there is a cadre of individuals and organizations around the globe standing by and ready to support them.
When we come forward, more with Dr. Johnny Mack, we're talking about the great work that is afoot with the World House Project. And we're getting a dose of hope from Dr. Mack, as only he can deliver it. You're listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
LADWP urges everyone to always keep safety top of mind. If you see a downed wire, don't touch it. Stay far away and call 911 immediately. Downed wires can be deadly. Whether you're at home, work, or on the road, always assume the wire is live. Together, we can keep Los Angeles safe and powered. Learn more at ladwp.com/electric safety. Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of Black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the Black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the Black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare Black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for Black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the Black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Faye Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Gina Townsend for Jesse Jackson Jr. today on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. And we are with our regular host on Thursday in our second hour, Dr. Johnny Mack and the World House. Dr. Johnny Mack, he was somebody. Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr., not Junior, but Reverend Jesse Jackson was definitely somebody. And I thought about during the break some of the conversation that we were having as Dr. NICU had to jump off and Atiba was having some audio problems. But, you know, we were talking about the next generation. And I had shared that Dr. NICU talked about how do we get the next generation to move forward. How about the audacity of Jesse Jackson, who says, you know, my name was originally Jesse Burns, and his name became Jesse Jackson. What is it in a name? What is it that makes us somebody in any generation? And how do we pass that on to generations that are coming and watching what's going on now?
Gina, you know, I often say, and your listeners, our listeners may recall, the idea that nothing of real value, nothing splendid has ever been achieved except by those who had the audacity to believe that something inside themselves is superior to circumstances. Mm-hmm. You know, what is that internal turbo that causes a Jesse Jackson Sr., a Martin Luther King Jr., an Ella Baker, and so many others, mm-hmm. to stand in the gap when no others will? Mm. It is that sense of self. And I think we all have that sense of self if we'll only embrace it. Mm-hmm. If we'll only recognize that human dignity is something that we share equally without division. Mm. That every man, every woman, every boy and every girl has that fundamental dignity and worth, and embracing that, I think, and refusing to be treated anything other than with full dignity and worth is what I think drove people like Jesse Jackson Sr. and so many others. You know, my hope is that we'll live lives that demonstrate that commitment to ourselves and then to our community.
Isn't it something, though, that our human nature, as we talk about and think about the World House, our human nature loves its comfortability. And every now and then in a generation or an era, we must feel the squeeze of say, an olive in order to get the virgin oil or the pureness of something that leads to that kind of audacity, for us to be able to look in the mirror and say, send me. Why not me? What is that about our comfort that we have to be pushed, you think, Dr. Mack?
You know, I have to admit, Gina, not my area of expertise, but I do have some sense that, you know, fire purifies, right? It will either destroy us or it will purify.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, metaphorically, it challenges us. And those who have that internal sense of self, who understand that it won't be if it's not me, and who accept that unselfishly. That is, they are not individualists. They're what Martin Luther King would call personalists.
Mm.
An individual is all about himself or herself. They are atomistic. It is all about me and my.
Mm.
But the personalist respects the personhood
Mm.
that they hold in common with everyone else, with all the rest of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding the dignity of personhood is really what matters. And if my dignity, my selfhood, my personhood is to be respected and uplifted, so must yours be. And I think those who come to realize that it's all about personhood and not individualism, they are the ones who rise to the occasion.
Well, that is amazing, because what I feel like, and I have children who are in Gen Z, and they really seem to have a sense of community, a sense of allowing everybody to belong and be a part of the World House. That's the vision that I get. That's what gets me excited, you know, that we can get there. And I think your explanation about the difference between individualism and personalism is kind of where they are. They may not be able to explain it, but I think that there is hope in that. And as we look toward ending our time together for this week, that is the word of hope that we have. And when a kernel of wheat, like Jesse Jackson, falls to the ground and dies, it can produce the kind of fruit, because he's everywhere and people are learning about him, and generations that have not even heard him give a speech are able to see the speeches that he gave and hear about the life that he lived, and even the audacity to go up to Martin Luther King and say, I want to be a part of this, here, send me.
Yes. Well said, Gina.
Yeah. Well, we will see you again next week. We always look forward to the World House. And of course, Jesse will be spending the week next week in the last leg of celebrating before they lay Reverend Jackson to rest. But we will be back tomorrow on KBLA Talk 1580 for Reflectivity on Fat Meat Friday. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
KBLA 1580.